Grant County Tower helicopter 7534 Delta is about 10 to the the west. We are inbound with Kilo. I've got a photographer on board. We'd like to do some aerial shots of those 737s you've got sitting there.
Helicopter 34 Delta, Grant County Tower, transition Delta surface area is approved, altimeter 3042, and you can proceed as requested. And after your photo work, are you going to full stop here on the ramp?
That's negative. We'll probably just turn around and go back to Wenatchee.
Helicopter 34 Delta, roger.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria Langer, and I'm the pilot who just made that radio call at Grant County Airport, which is in Moses Lake, Washington. I'm taking a photographer out to photograph some 737 MAX planes that are parked there until the problems with the plane are fixed up. Now, we've come in from the west, you can see the arrow, and the planes are located in 3 different places on the airport, at least on the date that we did this flight, which was in October. So I'm crossing the runways now, and I'm going to start circling the different groups of planes. Now, I've edited down this flight, which was probably about 15 to 20 minutes of actual time over the airport, so that you really only see what's interesting. But as we started the flight, we were flying into the sun. It was right after sunrise. We want that golden hour light on the planes. The photographer is sitting behind me, so he's going to be shooting out the right side of the aircraft. I'm sitting on the right side. So the footage, which is coming from a nose cam pointed on the nose of the aircraft, pointing straight out, is not getting as good photographs as the photographer got. The photographer is David Ryder. He is a Getty Images photographer, and he got some really, really nice shots, and I'll put a link to that in the notes for this. That runway, by the way, is the one that the 747s land on at this airport. Boeing does a lot of test flying here, and they do some maintenance work, and this airport gets a lot of use from big planes. It seems to make sense to park the planes here. In addition to Moses Lake, there's also a lot of 737 MAX planes parked on the Seattle side of the mountain. We're talking like Boeing Field Airport and Payne Field, and I don't know where else, probably a lot of other different airports. So now the next clip is going to show nice long stretch where you're going to see all 3 groups of planes. I've gotten a little bit lower here. The photographer wants me to fly up to these planes just off to our right, and he wants me to be over the planes so that he can shoot straight down at them. That's actually not too easy to do in a helicopter because the skids are there and the skids can get in the way. But this guy really knows what he's doing, and he got some really excellent shots. So what I'll be doing here is I'm going to be flying between the 2 sides of that Y shape, and he'll be photographing the planes on the right, and it's going to give you a really good view of those planes, all of those planes there, the planes way out in front of us near the tower, and then you can also see the planes off to the right a little bit. There's quite a few planes here. There had to be at least 100 of them here. They're all painted with the livery of various airlines, and I don't know if it's because these are planes that are being parked here until they can be fixed and then delivered to the client airlines, or if they're planes that have been brought back for repairs, but I tend to think that these are brand new planes. And I've come almost to a hover here so that he could shoot down, and I'm flying a little bit sideways. Again, I want to give him the shots that he needs. Aerial photography flights do require some skill. They're not really for pilots, low-time pilots. If you want to do a good job, if you want to get your photographer in to get the shots that he needs, you have to really know what you're doing. You have to have the feel for the aircraft. You can't be too heavy. You have to have the right flying conditions. This day was perfect. It was actually quite cold, so the density altitude was very good. And then also, there was hardly any wind. See, I'm nearly in a hover right here. He's shooting back at those planes that we've just passed. When I do an aerial photography flight, I like the photographer sitting behind me, so we both see the same thing, and I do limit the total number of passengers to 2. If they are big guys, or big women for that matter, I will only allow 1. I want the aircraft really light, I want it really responsive, and I don't want to get into any trouble. I'm flying in the dead man's curve here, as a lot of people I'm sure will point out, and that's something to keep in mind. I also don't want to get into any situations of settling with power. So now we're flying along this row of airplanes. In a minute we're going to make the turn. We're going to go out to the other ones. And I want to take a moment to thank the channel members, especially the sponsors, Jamie, Rebecca, Turbo Max, Tony, Reed, Solodat, Jerry, Mark, Jason, Tazaran, Dirt Dog, Daniel, Swarfrat, Mark, and Orbato. I hope I said that right. Thanks very much, guys, all of you, but thanks very much because you make this channel possible. Now I'm flying across that big fat runway again, and we're going to take a flight down alongside these planes you see along on the right. And there's that 747 almost in the center of the picture. That's a Qantas plane that has been brought out here for some experimental work. I don't think Qantas owns it anymore. I think they've turned it over to someone else. They've removed the Qantas name from it, and they're doing some work on it. So now I'm flying alongside these planes off to the right. I made a little turn there. I'm going really, really slow, and for a while I'm going to be flying a little bit sideways. I did 2 flights along this path. I think the other flight, which I did not include in this video, was a little bit more sideways than this one. I only included one because I really didn't want to repeat myself here. I wanted a nice short video for you folks. So after we got finished with this flight down this row, we made another pass, and then we just headed home. And home is basically straight out in front of us on the other side of the lake. Looks like a river, but it's actually Moses Lake right here on the other side of those mountains out there. If you like videos like this, please subscribe, tell your friends, share the videos. I really need your support. These flights, this particular flight was paid for by a client, but they're usually kind of expensive. So I really need you folks to subscribe, click the button, click the link, and keep checking in. There's always something new. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.
That was pretty easy.